This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Demands for improved security at the College of the Bahamas have apparently not fallen on deaf ears.
Just this past week, a member of parliament proposed the implementation of on-campus policing.
And as LaDon Davis tells us tonight, the Minister of National Security has put forth several suggestions he believes will eradicate the scourge of crime and the fear of students.
I wish today once again to challenge my government to find the means to invest the resources into the College of the Bahamas through the creation of a branch of the Royal Bahamas Police Force.
It's not a quick fix, but a solution that has been met with mixed reviews. The implementation of an on-campus policing unit at the College of the Bahamas seems to be a good idea, as some students, we've been told, are in fear as they attend classes on a daily basis. On Tuesday, Minister of National Security Dr. Bernard Nottage responded to the idea, stating that while he has heard the complaints of high criminal acts on the campus, he does not believe the burden of securing the campus should fall on police officers.
The College of the Bahamas has a security section which is headed by a director who's been there for some time, and they do hire security officers.
Minister of National Security Dr. Bernard Nottage accepts that there is a need for an adequate security system at the College of the Bahamas and made these suggestions to the College Council.
The college needs a well-trained college policing unit or college security unit, whatever you want to call it. They do not have to be policemen, but I think that I would prefer them to have the powers of arrest. And so my recommendation would be that they are trained by the police.
Nottage also put forth other recommendations the college's council should also consider.
We need to look at the perimeters of the college campuses and determine whether or not they are secure enough. I think college entrances need to be manned by properly trained security officers, and there ought to be patrols on college campuses, regular patrols, which can be accounted for, so that we know that the officers are patrolling the campus and in a better position to know when incidents are taking place. I also think that the college needs a CCTV system.
The College of the Bahamas sits in the heart of the Bain and Grantstown constituency, and as the area member of parliament, Mr. Nottage has asked for more satellite patrols to man around campus over a 24-hour period. Meanwhile, Nottage has also requested the Commissioner of Police to have the security system at the college, soon to be University of the Bahamas, reviewed. LaDon Davis, ZNS Network News.
The Christie administration making inroads to preserve the environment.
Environment Minister Kenred Dorsett revealed last night that 2 weeks ago the cabinet approved marine protected areas covering up to 16% of near-shore environment subject to public consultation. Legislation is in process to form the Bahamas Protected Area Fund. Minister Dorsett calls these actions utilizing the blue economy. Additionally, Minister Dorsett boasted the Bahamas is leading the creation of a shark sanctuary here at home, the first in the region to protect sharks and manta rays. It's a program that can net some $250 million. This information is important to local and international environmentalists attending this week's second annual Natural History Conference spearheaded by the Bahamas National Trust and the College of the Bahamas. During last night's opening ceremony at the Atlantis Resort on Paradise Island, Prime Minister Perry Christie revealed how researchers from the University of Miami have committed to doing work at the new Agricultural and Marine Institute in Andros.
I wanted a greater degree of collaboration, a greater involvement on the part of the University of Miami, for them to have the benefit of their library totally used, for them to get involved in what we're doing, because I wanted the University of Miami. And you saw professor after professor have written books on research in the Bahamas, the bonefish in the Bahamas, the tarpon in the Bahamas, the snook in the Bahamas, the cobia in the Bahamas. All of that you see all around you at the University of Miami. They exist in Andros, and I said, let's start this institute off with the University of Miami. And just to let you know, we have general and full agreement that that will happen.
One of the featured speakers at this week's conference is Dr. Sylvia Earle, the American oceanographer, explorer, author, and lecturer, has been a National Geographic Explorer in residence since 1998 and named by Time magazine as its first hero for the planet. Referred to as her deepness, Dr. Earle made several marine expeditions vacations to the Bahamas, and she offered her own suggestions on how we can preserve our unique, beautiful marine resources.
Bahamas can be a leader in showing the way. You already are doing so. And at this conference, I think some ideas are going to be circulated that may make it possible to really not just dream about having that goal of 20% of the land and sea really protected as assets, as the bank that delivers to us the benefits that we have always taken for granted. You can do this. You can be a beacon for the world.
The verdict handed down today in the Ezra Ferguson coroner's inquest. You may recall that 28-year-old Ferguson was fatally shot during a confrontation with Corporal Sterling Thompson at a school function in Crooked Island back in March of 2012. After deliberating for about 2 hours today, 5 jurors determined that it was a lawful killing. And in reviewing the evidence in the case before just jurors began deliberations, Coroner Janine Weish-Gomez noted that Thompson said he shot Ferguson because he feared for his life and the lives of those around him. She indicated that Thompson and other witnesses also testified that Ferguson had been drinking and behaving in an unruly manner on the day he was killed. Thompson also testified earlier that on the day the incident happened, he felt like he was, quote, fighting with a demon, end quote. 51-year-old Peter Taylor expected to learn his fate tomorrow after pleading guilty to 4 charges in connection with that drug bust in Seabreeze. Taylor and 4 other men were arrested following a joint operation between the Drug Enforcement Unit and the Defense Force. The officers went to the Seabreeze Canal where they discovered suspected marijuana being loaded onto a boat around 4 o'clock in the morning. Officers intercepted the transfer and the drugs were taken. The marijuana has an estimated street value of $681,000. Taylor and 4 other men were arraigned in connection with the incident Friday, but Taylor was the only defendant who pleaded guilty to all of those charges.
The Bahamas Bar Association is echoing the sentiments of many other anti-crime groups, such as the Christian Council, which believe the problem is cyclical and as a direct result of the breakdown in the family structure. And while some members of the bar go before the courts to represent accused and convicted criminals, as far as Bar President Ellsworth Johnson is concerned, the crime problem won't be solved simply by the many infrastructural upgrades currently being made to the judiciary.
Time again, we put the blame on the judiciary for what parents, fathers, mothers, sisters and brothers should be doing, and that is bringing up children properly. Our crime problem, and I know that everybody would agree, is based between persons between 15 and 25. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So it begs the question, what are we doing between age 1, when the child is born, and age 9, that period when the child is thought not to be able to commit or conceive a criminal matter? It means that we are failing to put into those children the things that we need, and that is where we need to concentrate. And I want to say, and I think this committee supports me when I say, if we think more police officers, bigger prisons, and harsher penalties will solve this problem, you've got it wrong. You must deal, that's right, you must deal with our most treasured resource, and that is the human capital.
But Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson insists government's greatest concern remains getting the crime problem under control. And part of effectively addressing the problem is ensuring the judiciary, which is tasked with bringing criminals to justice, is operating more efficiently.
This administration, headed by the Prime Minister, Perry Christie, has been assiduous about doing everything we can to ensure that people within our borders and outside of our borders understand that the rule of law prevails in the Bahamas. And to put it succinctly, justice must be done and seen to be done, and swiftly. And as the Deputy Prime Minister has already said, it is very important that we send the message by the environment in which we work.
Still to come, celebrating World Tennis Day. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Jimenita Swain. America's biggest domestic carrier, Southwest Airlines, has announced plans for new daily routes to the Bahamas by this summer. Officials say the new routes represent the second batch of international destinations the Dallas-based carrier will serve. In addition to the Bahamas, it will also commence service to Mexico. The airline will begin its flights in August. In other business news, America's most trusted popular personal finance expert, Susie Orman, will visit the Bahamas later this year. Hosted by one of the island's leading pension administrators, Colonial Pension Services Limited, Orman will focus on personal finances and retirement planning. She said that she's absolutely delighted to be coming to the Bahamas. The event is set for May 17th at the Melia Nassau Beach at 2 p.m. and Colonial Group International officials say there is already overwhelming interest in Orman's visit here. And in international business news, electronics retailer Radio Shack announcing today that it will close 1,100 poorly performing stores, this amid widening losses. USA Today is reporting that would represent roughly 20% of its locations in a move to become more competitive. Those closures would leave about 4,000 locations in the U.S. Now, since last year, the company has been trying to revamp its stores. Some analysts say the retailer faces an uphill climb as it struggles to compete against larger stores like Best Buy. That was your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Jimenita Swain.